How'd you do, y'all? This is John, and today we are talking about No One Will Save You, a new movie out on Hulu right now. And in No One Will Save You, it deals with this young woman who is living on her own inside this house when all of a sudden an alien invasion occurs, and she has to do everything she can in order to keep herself alive during this alien invasion. Okay, so getting into it first and foremost, what I liked about the movie, I think Caitlin Denver in the movie was very good. She essentially has this whole movie on her back. She has to do a lot in the film because the other characters are more or less barely in the film. The movie just mainly focuses on her. That is it. And there's a lot she has to do, because this movie has probably only like 2 or 3 lines in the entire film. The rest is just silent, and she has to help give off this convincing character without speaking very much. And I also liked how the movie handles things like grief and trauma, because there are things that the main character did in her past that she has an insane amount of regret for. Stuff she did when she was younger that she didn't understand what the impact of it would be. And like I said, I liked how they handled that, because it's definitely a bit on the emotional side. And when it comes to the special effects, it's one of those situations where I've seen worse, but I've also seen better, because the CGI, you notice it, but at the end of the day, I've seen way worse. It's probably a situation where they were really trying, and maybe they're talented, probably are, but they just simply had a bad day. However, there's a lot that I just did not care for. First of all, the whole almost no dialogue thing. I think that was more of a gimmick than actually justified within the story. Because the main character, she goes and does stuff, and there's situations where even if you're alone, you would be talking. Not only that, but just almost complete silence, just background noise of animals, the wind, people chattering indistinctly. That's just kind of awkward. It's one of the reasons why with some movies with very little dialogue, like 2001: A Space Odyssey, it still has dialogue. It still has people talking, because guess what? That would just be awkward. Astronaut Dave going up to HAL 9000's main unit to disconnect HAL 9000 would have been very awkward if HAL 9000 was not pleading with him to leave him alone. And while that situation never really happens in this movie, it gives you the idea of what I am talking about. It's just awkward. It also felt like the whole alien thing was a little bit cliche, because there are scenarios that happen in this movie that I've seen done before, and done in a much more effective way. There are scenes reminiscent of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. There are scenes reminiscent of Fire in the Sky. There are scenes reminiscent of Signs. And I've seen this stuff done before better in these movies. And they do it here, but they don't do anything new with them. And execution-wise, they're not that great. And the last thing I'd like to talk about is they show these aliens way too much. It's always most effective to never reveal the villain very often, only when you have to. For instance, in Jaws, they only actually showed the shark when they had to. The first Alien movie, the alien is kept in the dark, where you can barely see it until crack shot at the end of the film. this movie, they just kept showing the aliens, and it's just not very scary. Guys, at the end of the day, no one will save you. It has potential, but they blew it. Execution-wise, some of the most important things about this movie that could have worked was done wrong. There are at least good ideas within it, but at the end of the day, I just cannot enjoy this film. I'm gonna give No One Will Save You a 4. Well, that's all the time I have for today. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Please also subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, please remember, the Bratski Order.